Alright, so in the last video we looked at just standard buttons. Now we're going to look at floating buttons and fixed action buttons. And if you've ever seen anything with Materialize, you've probably seen these before, the circular buttons. We can even have them fixed to the bottom here or wherever, and we can have it make it so that we click and then some other buttons open, and it looks really cool. It's just a really cool looking UI. So let's start with a simple floating button. So I'm in my 2.4 floating.html file. I have it open in my browser, and we just basically have a button here with an I tag. Okay, no classes or anything yet. We're going to add that now. So for the button, we're going to add a class of btn-floating, and if we save that, it's going to just be basically a circle. And then we want to add, let's make it a large button, so we'll add btn-large, so that makes it bigger. Let's also give it the waves effect, so we'll say waves effect, and we also want to do waves dash light, and then let's also change the color to red. So we'll save. Now these buttons normally have icons inside of them, or else it's just a circle. So what we'll do is give this the standard class of material dash icons, and then the icon I want is a plus sign, which is the add icon. So let's save that, and there we go. So there we have a floating button, and you can see it has that waves effect. So what I'll do is copy this, and let's create another one. So we'll just paste that here. Actually, we'll make this one a link, so I'll just make this an A tag instead of a button. Go ahead and put an A tag there as well. Let's change the icon to edit, and let's also change the color to blue, and save, and there we go. Now we can also add a pulse effect, and this isn't just for floating buttons. This is an effect you can put on, I'm pretty sure you can put it on anything, but it looks really good on buttons. So what I'm going to do is just grab this whole A tag, the floating button here, or actually we'll grab this standard button tag and paste that in, and I'm going to change the icon to publish just to make it a little different, and then I'm also going to change the color to green, and then I'm simply going to add the class of pulse. Okay, and we'll save that, and now you can see that it just has a constant pulse effect, which looks pretty cool. So these are standard floating buttons. Now I'm going to comment out everything we just did. In VS Code, you can just do you can highlight it, and you can do Control and then / and that'll comment everything out. Let's see, why is this? Well, I guess since we have a comment here, we have to do it separately. So we'll comment this stuff out, and then we'll comment this out. Okay, so now let's go down to the simple fixed action button, and basically what this does is it'll give us the floating button, but it'll be down here and it'll be in place. We won't be able to move it no matter how big you resize the browser or make it smaller. It should stay in that place. Alright, so let's go ahead and just add to this div here a class of fixed. We'll say fixed dash action dash button, and then we're going to go into the button, the actual button, and we'll say btn dash floating. Let's also do btn dash large, and let's make it red, and then I'm also going to give this an add icon. And we'll save. Let's see, what am I missing here? I forgot the class. So it should be class equals, and save. Should be material icons. So we have the button. Now it's not fixed. That's because it shouldn't be button, the word, it should be btn. So fixed action btn, and now you can see that it's in place down here, and even if I were to make this smaller, it's just going to stay there. It's absolute basically. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is make it so that we can have a button here, and if we click it, we'll have a bunch of other buttons kind of just pop up right here, which looks really nice. So I'm going to comment this out that we just did and go down here, and we're going to add in a bunch of stuff here. So we're going to put in this div a class of fixed-action-btn, not button. I want to do btn, and then in this a tag we'll do class btn dash floating, and we'll make it large and red. And then for the icon, let's do mode dash edit. So this would be like something you'd have on a blog edit page, something like that, a post edit page. And then in the UL, this is where the pop-up buttons are going to go. So we actually want to go into the LI and into the A tag, and we're going to add a class of, again, btn dash floating, and we'll make this red. And for the icon, let's do an insert chart. Okay, and of course we need the class of material icons. All right, so we'll do that, and let's see, we'll go to the next one here. Let's actually just copy this LI, and then we'll just paste it in. What's this? 1, 2, 3 more times. And we'll change this one to, let's say, blue. We'll change the icon. We'll change this to, let's do format quote. And then this one will be yellow. And we'll change that icon to publish. And then this final one here, we'll say green. And we'll change that to attach file. Attach underscore file. All right, so if I go down here, and now you'll see when I hover over it, it gives us these other floating buttons, which looks really nice. Now, there's a couple options that we can add to this. You'll see in the comment I have horizontal and click to toggle. Those are two actions or two classes that we can add to change the effect. So you see how it comes from the top and goes up? We can make this go this way, horizontal, by going ahead and adding in a horizontal class like that. So if we save and I go and I hover, now it goes the other way. Now, if you want to make it so that you have to actually click it for this effect, then you can do that as well by adding in click-to-toggle. So now if I go down and I hover, it doesn't do anything. If I click it, then it does. I can just toggle that effect. All right. Now another thing I'm going to show you is the fixed action button toolbar, which is another really cool effect, but I have to comment this stuff out or else we'll have some compatibility issues. And we're going to go ahead and add on to this div. We're going to give it a class of fixed action button, and then also we're going to give it a class of toolbar. Okay, now for this inside the div, this link here, this a tag, we're going to give this a class of btn dash floating, and then let's make it large and let's make it red. And then for the icon, we're going to do the mode edit. Okay, and then the UL doesn't need anything. The LI, however, we're going to give a class of waves, waves effect, and waves dash light. Okay, and the A tag does not have a class on it or anything like that, but let's put our icon. So this will be insert chart, All right, and what I'll do is just grab this li here with the class and just paste that onto these beginning LIs. And then let's also copy the icon just to make this shorter. And we'll change these icons. So this one will be format quote. And let's do publish. And let's do attach file. Okay, so let's save. And now if I go down and I click on this button, there we go. It turns into a toolbar, which is pretty cool. And if I click off of the toolbar, it goes back to the button. So this is the kind of stuff that I think separates Materialize from Bootstrap. Bootstrap does not have stuff like this, okay? Interactive UI elements like this. I'm not saying one is better than the other. Bootstrap is much more used, so it is very beneficial to learn Bootstrap. But as far as design elements go, I'm a fan of Materialize. Now, we can open and close this stuff through JavaScript as well. So if I were to go down here and let's use a little bit of jQuery, and we'll say fixed action -btn, and let's call open toolbar. Okay, so we're grabbing the fixed action button, which is this, and we're calling a function called open toolbar, and that's going to run when the page loads. So let's save, and you'll see that it just automatically goes to a toolbar. And at the same time, we have close toolbar. So if we say close toolbar, it basically just opens and closes when we enter the page. Okay, so you can manipulate it from the JavaScript, and you can do the same thing with the standard floating action buttons by doing, instead of open toolbar, you could do open fab like that, and you can do close fab. Okay, so that would be for the floating button that we have commented out, or I'm sorry, the fixed action button, the fab. So you can open and close that from JavaScript as well, but I'm just going to comment this stuff out. I just want it in there so you guys know that that's possible. All right, so that's it. That's it for floating buttons. We will get back into these later on, but in the next video, we're going to start to look at nav bars, navigation in Materialize.